Number 13 said 8 over x was equal to 14 over 7. When you're solving this type of problem, you cross multiply. You're going to take 8 times 7, which is 56. You're going to take 14 times x, which is 14x. To get x by itself, you would divide both sides by 14. X is going to be equal to 4. Do you understand how I got 4?
Yeah.
Okay. Were there others from this page that we need to go over? Everybody have a chance to look at all their answers. Thank you. Anything else on this first page? For anybody? Okay. There would have been your answers for the vocabulary page. 2 lines joining at one point make an angle. A shape made of straight lines is a polygon. Unit measured by a protractor is a degree. Dimensions of two-dimensional shapes, length and width. What is a proportional two-dimensional drawing of an object? It is a scale drawing. This is what we're going to be talking about today. Scale drawings. Congruent angles are angles that have the same measurement, and complementary angles are angles who have measures that add up to 90 degrees. I don't know if that's where I cut it off. Was there another one? Okay. Are there any questions about the vocabulary? Okay, in your same packet then for taking notes, should be right there on the beginning of section 8.1. Somebody want to tell me what page it is? Yep. 237. So we're going to fill in some of these spaces in the packet today. Scale drawings, scale models are used for map making, construction, and other trades. Obviously, they've got to do a scale drawing of a building because they can't do a building size drawing of the building, can they? Could they draw out this school on a piece of paper? Mm-hmm. Not likely, right? But they could draw it out if they shrunk it down and kept everything to scale. So, a blueprint is a technical drawing that usually displays architectural plans. Pete's blueprint shows a layout of a house. Every 4 inches in the blueprint represents 3 feet in the actual house. One of the walls in the blueprint is 24 inches long. And so we're going to complete this table to find the length of the wall. If 4 inches is 3 feet, then twice as big means 8 inches is 6 feet. How would I find 12? No. Add 3 to 6 because it's another 4 units up here. It's another 3 units here. This would be 9. What would the next space be? 12. Then 15. Then what? 18. Then 18. So, if this was 24 inches on the blueprint, in the real world it would represent 18 feet. Obviously, it makes more sense to have a 24-inch drawing than it does an 18-foot drawing.
Or you could just say, or you could just draw and then say like 18. Like, yeah, you can build a house with a blueprint.
In Pete's blueprint, the length of the wall that is 16 inches. Find the actual length of the wall. What's the actual length of the wall if the blueprint is 16 inches? 12 feet. And I'm going to tell you that number 2, it looks like they want us to use the table, but is 33 feet anywhere in the table? No. Everything that we do today can be set up with a proportion. The whole reason that you did the sheet that you did yesterday is so that we could set up some things with proportions. They gave me this dimension. 4 inches was equal to 3 feet. They asked me, what's the length on the blueprint compared to 33 feet in the real world? I've got to make sure that I'm comparing feet to feet, and I want to look for how long is it on the blueprint. So that would be my proportion. And I would cross multiply to solve this. I would take 33 times 4, which I believe to be 132. And I'd take 3 times x, which is 3x. And what would I do to solve it now? Divide by 3. What's my answer going to be in? 44 what? Is it feet or inches?
What did you do? How did you get 132?
I took 4 times 33. Notice, feet compare to feet, inches should compare to what? Inches. This should be 44 inches. If the back wall of the house is 33 feet long, notice that 33 feet wasn't in my table. So I can't see how many inches it is in the table. Because of that, I can set up a proportion. They gave me the scale factor. 4 inches was 3 feet. So X amount of inches is 33 feet, and I can cross multiply. It would be 44 inches for that part 2. Questions on how I set it up? We do have to make sure that when we're setting up a proportion that we're comparing inches to inches, feet to feet, units to units. Everybody okay with the first one? Take a look to see where number 5 is. Tell me what page, and I'll tell you. Okay.
How do you check proportion?
To see if it's right?
Yeah.
239. You could plug it back in there. If I plug back in here, if I plug this 44 right in here, what'll go into both 44 and into 33? How many times will it go into 44? 11 goes into 44 4 times. 11 goes into 33 how many times? 4/3 is equal to 4/3. Obviously the same, isn't it? Okay? Okay. Well, we're going to look at page 239. We're going to look at number 5. Find the length and width. So they've asked me to find two things. And then it also says find the area. So they've asked for three different answers here. They want the length, they want the width, and they want the area. How do I find the area of a rectangle? Length times width. Okay? So, if I can find the actual length and the actual width from this scale drawing, I can find the area. They give you a scale factor. 3 inches is equal to 8 feet. We're going to set up a proportion. 3 inches compares to 8 feet. The same way that 6.5 inches, which is my length, would compare to x. And my x is going to be in what? Feet. So my length is going to end up being in feet, just like my width is going to end up being in feet. What would I do to solve for the length? John, what would I do? Cross multiply. I'd take 3 times x, which is 3x. I'd take 8 times 6.5, which is 52. What would I do to get x by itself? Divide by 3. So, 17.3 feet for my length. Anybody want to guess how I'd set it up to find my width? Josh? Want to tell me how I'd set it up to find my width? Maddie? Three over 8 equals 5 over x. Remember, I'm comparing inches to inches and feet to feet. And again, I'd do the same thing to solve it. I would cross multiply. I'd take 3 times x and get 3x. I'd take 8 times 5 and get 40. Then I would divide both sides by 3. $13.3. Remember that if I'm looking for my area, I can now take my 17.3 times my 13.3 I get 230.09 or 230.1. Since they're talking about area, would this just be feet? What would it be? Feet what? Feet squared. So there's my area. There's my width. And there's my length. All 3 pieces that they asked me to find for this problem. Everything that we do with scale drawings can be set up using a proportion. And to solve a proportion, we will cross multiply. Questions on this number 5? Anybody still copying? I go to the next page. Good. Number 6. Same page. The drawing plan for an art studio shows a rectangle that is 13.2 inches by 6 inches. The scale says 3 inches is 5 feet. Again, find the length, find the width, find the area. They're asking me to find 3 things again. If it helps you to draw a picture and think about what they're giving you, draw a picture. They said 3 inches would compare to 5 feet. They said that this was 6 inches by 13.2 inches. Josh, could you tell me how I'd set up this proportion to start with?
13.2 divided by over 3.
Mm-mm. What's the scale?
5 feet.
What's the scale?
3 inches and 5 feet.
3 inches compares to 5 feet. What would I set that equal to find the width? I know that you've got it, Maddie. If I'm looking for the width, what would I set it equal to? Audrey? You don't know. What are we so busy doing then? Not math. Haley, what would I set it equal to? 6 inches over x. This would find the width. How would I find the length? How would I find the length? How would I set it up? 3 inches over 5 feet is equal to? Is equal to what? 13.2 inches over x. And we would cross multiply to solve these. I'd take 3 times x, which is 3x. I'd take 5 times 6, which is 30. And I would divide both sides by 3. X is going to be 10 feet. So I know that this is the same as 10 feet for the width, right? My length, I would do the same thing. I'd take 3 times x, which is 3x. I'd take 5 times 13.2, which is 66. And I would divide both sides by 3. X is 22 feet, which means my length would be 22 feet. My area would be the length, 22 feet, times 10 feet, which would be 220 feet what? Squared. So there's my area, there's my length, and there's my width. Remember, everything with a scale drawing we can set up using a what? Proportion. Questions on number 6? go forward. There's your assignment.